evening on a Tuesday. This is your boy Tone Duncan, and you are listening to the Truth Seekrz. Today, I want to talk to you about a couple things that we spoke about earlier today, and I want to make sure that we really get into some of the conversations that we last talked about. First thing I want to talk about, when I told you guys about the Philando Castilla conversation, we were talking about Philando Castilla, and what we're really talking about was how here's a guy who had a conceal and carry. He had the ability to conceal and carry, but yet and still, somehow, this Officer Geronimo Yanis, somehow forgot that he told him to give him his license and his insurance and shot the man in front of his girlfriend and his girlfriend Diamond's daughter. Well, Diane was her name. Of course, he got acquitted because, of course, we knew he wasn't going to go to jail because of all the 1,700 shootings of victims by police officers in the history of these recordings. 0 have been arrested, convicted for what they did. 0. So again, there's been 1,700 of these senseless murders, some not senseless, but 1,700 murders and 0 convictions. I want you to know that there is a shutout that has been a shutout since day one. But here's the thing that I wanted to point out to you. What I wanted to point out to you was that the NRA, who is supposed to be the advocate, the supporters for those who want to carry guns, because, right, the National Rifles Association wants to make sure that you have the ability to carry guns. But here's the deal. The deal is they were quiet on this one because it was a minority, black. We don't even want to use the word minority. There was an African citizen of America that was murdered senselessly after he identified himself as a licensed conceal and carry permit owner. But the NRA had nothing to say for almost 3 weeks. And then here comes the national spokeswoman. Her name's Dana Loesch. She comes out and says something that, I won't even waste your time telling you what she said. In a nutshell, oh, we're really sorry this happened. It was a complicated issue. We really need to make sure, first, she says, that the conceal and carry people know the right thing to do. And then, oh yeah, by the way, that the officers have a better awareness of what they should do in this situation. This is ridiculous. This is just another example of how we run to these organizations that have absolutely no interest in us as a people. It's ridiculous that we would think that the NRA, because somehow we feel we're citizens of this country, because they tell you you're a citizen until it's time for you to get the full measure of citizenry that this country will never give you. We finally are realizing we are not the ones they were referring to, because had this been somebody else, and I don't need to tell you who the somebody else would be, they would have been out in full force. They would have been paying for the lobbying, paying for the protest, paying for the sponsorship on radio and everything else to get the message out that police have to stop what they're doing. But we didn't get such luck with Philando. We didn't get that. We got a woman that came out 3 weeks after the fact when the news has shifted completely from the case and said, oh yeah, we really need to have some conversation about how to make this not happen again. First, on the part of the conceal and carry guy. And then lastly, because of course it wasn't their fault, the police. This is a bunch of crap. But I'm going to tell you this. It's important for me to tell you, first and foremost, I want to say A special shout out, what's up, to my lovely wife. Want to say thank you to all of you who are checking out what's going on truthseekers.com. I am your host, Tone Duncan. This is every Tuesday at 7 o'clock. I was bragging about being on the South Side at the Chosen Few picnic last Saturday and Sunday. It was amazing. For all of you who don't know, it was one of the most amazing events that Chicago has. It's my personal favorite. And what you have to understand is that there were 42,000 predominantly African Americans and absolutely no drama. Drama free. Drama free. That's because they were getting the words of their songs from Philip Bailey, from Teddy Pendergrass, from Champagne King, from Thelma Houston, from Diana Ross, from Michael Jackson. They weren't getting them from Lil Wayne. They weren't getting their lyrics from Jay-Z. They weren't getting their lyrics from all these different thug-minded rappers that have completely distorted the culture. Now, I know what a lot of people say, well, they're just magnifying what it is they see. No, you're not getting it. That's not the only show in town. It's just the only one they're letting us go to. Do you understand the amount of positive rappers that will never be heard because it goes against the pigeonholed idea, the stereotype that we have as African Americans? Does anybody else see that? Of course there's black rappers talking about positive things, but nobody's going to promote that. Okay? Because these A&Rs, they have a concept. You want to see a black woman on TV, she got to be fighting and degrading herself. Black man on TV, he's got to have disrespect for women, for his brothers, for his mothers, his fathers, and anyone who gets in the way of his paycheck. And we're going to be talking about that because we spend our lives fighting over paychecks. That's why they call that 21st century slavery. We're going to get a little deeper. But what I want to talk about is that 101 people were killed over the holiday, your holiday, weekend. That would be 15 murders. 15 murders. That's with Chicago so-called allocating 1,000 extra police officers. I really want to know where they were allocating them because something tells me they weren't in the areas that these people were getting killed. And if they were, they weren't in great numbers. I mean, first and foremost, police cannot stop gang and street violence. As a matter of fact, I'm stopping calling it gang violence because very few of these issues are truly gang violence. Most of these are seriously just clique violence. Most of these are just disrespecting individuals back and forth. It has absolutely nothing to do with money, has nothing to do with anybody's particular gang affiliation, has everything to do with this group of friends being at that group of friends for nothing more. How many of our children are dying over arguments? How many brothers are out here every day scared? Sisters, y'all dying too. Mothers getting shot. Watched an interview of this woman, oh, hurt my soul. Her and her son was sitting on the porch. They heard gunshots. He jumped over his mother. She still got shot 5 times. He got shot 6. He died. Terrible. And then you get this Trump idiot talking about how how this idiot is going to bring in federal agents, bring in the task force, and how they're celebrating all this. Okay, Why you don't bring in the task force to crack down on the people who are selling the guns? Because it's by design. You don't care who's selling the guns because they're not the problem. They're actually helping you with what your secret solution is. See, the problem is once the guns get into our hands, because now we can fill the penitentiaries. You tell me about this sickness. You tell me about this sickness because I see it all day. This is nothing but another opportunity to criminalize our people through mass incarceration. Somebody saw a post I put up on Facebook. And the post that I put up on Facebook, I showed the big house. For those who don't understand, that's the University of Michigan. All right. The Michigan University has a huge football field, can hold 109,000 people. I said, multiply that by 10. And that's black men in the penitentiary right now. I was looking at a study said that, you know what, there's about the same amount of black men in the penitentiary as there are white men. Did you know that? But here's the problem. The problem is we're only 13% of the population. 13% of the population, and there are more black people incarcerated in America than there is all throughout the entire world. You hear that or no? You guys, please give me some comments here. Let me know what you think. I appreciate all the comments I'm getting from my guy, and my guy, Trav, what's going on, baby? And Divinity always giving me that input. Love it, love it, love it. You guys like, comment, share. Let's get this message out. We're talking about some intellectual things. You're listening to Tone Duncan. This is Truth Seekrz on IntellectualRadio.com. Listen, we're an iHeart station. There's no way in the world you can't hear me no matter where you are. We're on YouTube Live. We're on IntellectualRadio.com. We're on iHeart. You got to find us, man, because we're putting in the work. And guess what? Your intellect creates the exchange because it's really not about me. It's about this truth. And we're going to seek it together. I want you to understand that a 13-year-old was killed over the 4-day holiday weekend. But that's the lowest that we got. How about a 60-year-old killed, murdered? That's at 101. I mean, can you imagine this? I mean, do you see what's going on? And we wonder how these guns getting into our communities. Now, here's something that blew my mind, though. I want you to understand this is something that blew my mind. All right. We know because our new superintendent, Eddie Johnson, said they already know it's about 1,300 known people who are perpetuating all of this violence. And now you say to yourself, 1,300 really means about 300. Because in every one of these groups, there's only really 1 or 2 people who are creating the flow of the legalities and the evil that goes on. See, we all know this because we've all lived in these communities. It's only a small group of people doing all this crime. But they won't lock them up. They won't go after them. Because again, do they ever reach for a cure? There's no money in a cure, is it? Because this is all capitalism. No money in a cure. No. What we want to do is treat the disease. That's called the penal system. See, too many clean streets means now we can't spend as much money as we want on police. See, because guess what? They have an employment problem in the white community too. And just in case black people forgot, it's not on accident that the majority of your peace officers are from a different persuasion. Max, I'm talking job security to the utmost. I'm talking about as long as the streets are dirty, you're going to need street sweepers. And guess what? That's what these police are. They have no care. They have no concern. They have no compassion. We all look like victims, and we all look like assailants. So they might as well protect themselves and consider us assailants. And that's the part that kills me, destroys my spine, because we are the parents of these children. You tell me every time I walk down the streets, is it me? Or do you wonder which one of my friends got their kid out here with their pants hanging down to their hamstrings? They could tell me that's not one of my friends' mother's children's. Tell me that. How? Who? Do you let your kids dress like that? Do you let your kids walk out the house with their pants sagging down? Is that acceptable for your household? Or well, he grown now, he got to do what he got to do. Yeah, he come in your house. He basically run your house, running drugs out your house, running baby mamas and soon to be baby mamas in and out your house. And she running, trapping with these dudes. And that's okay though, because she grown, right? It don't matter. It don't matter. You lost your mind. Lost your mind. You guys, do you know that last year, because there were only 4 actual murders during the 4th of July weekend, even though there was 75 some odd shootings, that the police department had the audacity to brag? Can you believe right now they're bragging because we are not shooting each other as much as we were shooting each other this time last year? But here's the thing that I don't think they think we're smart enough to know. They don't decide how often we shoot each other. These fools shoot based on their desire. It ain't like they did something. Police can't stop murders. You know, one of the most dangerous communities there is right around a police station. You guys, we got to really look at what the issue is here. We got to look at what's going on. Our communities are being decimated because of one primary thing. We believe with all sincerity, with every bit of our heart, that only 2 forces can stop these problems. One is the police, and the other is Jesus. I'm going to tell you right now, it ain't going to be the police, and it ain't going to be Jesus. It's going to have to be you. It's going to have to be you. It's going to have to be me. We're going to have to get on these streets and recommandeer our communities. How is that hard for you to understand? If you scared, find out who kid it is. The truth is, you know who kid it is. You know. I know you know. Because they ain't look no different now. It's the same face. They 16, 17 driving around in cars with assault weapons. You know who they are, but you won't say anything. See, we have to understand where our loyalty truly should lie. But because we're so spineless in every other part of our life, and I'm not going to blame us for that. But now we know who we are. We got to take our accountability. See, we have been in a state of illusion, disillusion, confusion, because they have convoluted the game and made us think somebody else is going to take care of everything for us while they take care of everything for them. I'm talking about, we're so ready to fight white people. We so ready for a revolution. We so talking about, I see these kids out there talking about they ready to fight the police. Do you understand how deeply outnumbered you are by everybody except the ones that are killing us? Do you realize the only advantage you have in a war that's killing you is against these kids who we actually outnumber? But yeah, we ain't doing nothing. I get into the greatest amount of conflicts with people when I say Black lives really matter. We deal with these street thugs out here. I call them urban terrorists. You know why? Because I know the definition of words. Urban terrorists. show me a cop killing. I'm going to show you 100 street killings by somebody who you or your mama or your cousin or your baby daddy knew. And you let it happen all the time. We got to wake up. We got to rise up. Your children are going to get killed by their children. They're not 50 years old killing nobody. Listen, the average age of a murderer right now is 18. But the truth in everything is that they're 15, they're 14, they're 19, they're 20. They basically stop killing when they get about 25. But whose children are these? Mothers. You know them your kids. Now maybe the daddy don't know it's his own kid. Maybe his daddy. I watched the show with a buddy of mine not too long ago. And here's the thing that blew my mind. He gets a phone call. One of his kids by some girl shot one of his kids by another girl, and they didn't even know that they was the same daddy's child. Man, we know that there's a conspiracy going. My man Kevin just kicked it. You know what time it is. Yeah, they doing it. Yeah, they dropping off guns in our communities. Yeah, they connecting the dots, allowing us to buy guns. You know what you're going to hear in this FBI sting? First, they're going to take down somebody they don't want no more. They're going to say, yeah, we've been watching this guy for 10 years. Watch this. We've been watching this guy for 10 years sell illegal guns, assault rifles, assault weapons. Yeah, we've been watching them for 10 years. Think about this. This is what the FBI does. 10 years? Do you understand how many murders and how many soon-to-be murders are going to happen from 10 years of gun selling? Illegal? You know. Because the medicine is not for the treatment. It's to deal. Listen, it's to deal with the complications of the disease. We got to end this, y'all. We got to end this. You know what? I was checking out a few things on Black News and just getting my awareness of kind of some things going on. First off, let me just say this again. You're listening to Truth Seekrz. This is IntellectualRadio.com. This is your boy, Tone Duncan. Please like, share, and throw some comments out there, because I know y'all checking me out, and I love it, and I appreciate y'all to death. But make this thing interactive. Tell me what's on your mind. How many of you guys know who Dr. Umar Johnson is? Okay. Dr. Umar Johnson was on a radio show in New York. And Dr. Umar Johnson, amongst many things, said something that was really, really radical. Dr. Umar Johnson, I want you to understand this. Dr. Umar Johnson has actually been on our station. We get brothers that are like American top leaders in the Black voice here, right here. You got to check it out. I mean, we had Kennedy. You know, I got to be careful when I say this. We even have people that never show up who will show up on our station because they know how many heads we hit. Dr. Umar, Sister Ruth, I know you know who's going. I know what time it is. Sister Davini, I know what time it is. Listen, he said something that was radical. He said, I have no respect for a Black man that marries a white woman. And he got some real heat for that. You guys, I wanted to break this down because what happened was, he was asked to appear on Roland Martin's News One Now show, and that got super heated. Super heated. See, here's what happened. See, he said, I have no respect for a Black man that marries a white woman. And the reason he said that was because you cannot be serious about your race if you don't protect, honor, and love a black woman, to show your respect to the most significant part of our race, the black woman. And ooh wee, he got into it. He had one of them black Republicans, one of the black Republicans said, I think you're lying. You're a liar. When he was talking, Brother Umar jumped out of his skin. He went ninja real quick. He said, Coon. Now you got Roland. He's so mad. He's like, look, I got rules on this show. Rule number 1 is you will not use a racial epithet on my show about a black person. So he got mad on that one because dude said, well, don't call me a liar then, Coon. Be careful. If you ain't going to disrespect me, I ain't going to disrespect you. You think I'm a liar, I think you a coon. Oh, it got heated. Then he went on to say he had no respect for any of the great black icons that inevitably married a white woman. What are your thoughts? Y'all tell me what y'all think. Y'all tell me what y'all think. Now, when asked what his opinion was on biracial people, he was smart enough, because we fall into this trap, and I respect that. Smart enough to say, I don't blame any person for what their background is. They didn't create themselves. Now, here's what I'm trying to tell you. What I'm trying to tell you is that we all know black people never decided who was black and who was not. You know why? Because we were never racialist. Did you guys know that? We were never racialists. We were never people who practiced racism. We never identified a group superior to another group based on their color. We didn't assume that to be intelligent. See, because we know that black people are all people, we knew that that could not in and of itself distinguish you. We dealt with people on the cultural and individual basis. Plus, we've been educating white people since they came out of caves. And that's okay, because we did it out of love. They came to Africa, more specifically Egypt, and they came and they prostrated themselves and they said, we want to learn, we want to know what you know. And we taught them. All your great Greek philosophers, your Greek father of medicine, your Greek fathers of philosophy, they all studied at the feet of Africans. Africans. But see, now we have such a distorted, such a confused mindset. We don't even understand the racial variety of Africans. You don't get it. Africans are nondescript. You cannot use a specific definition of physical terms to adequately describe all Africans. You can't. But when Dr. Umar was asked why he felt so strongly, it was in defense of the most abused, most alienated, most disrespected member of the black family, and that is the black woman. But here's the deal. The deal is he has the right to think whatever he wants to think. He has the right to glorify whoever he wants to glorify. If he doesn't like black people who marry white people at the same level that he likes black people who marry black people, I completely 100% yield his opinion to him. That's what he thinks. That's what he believes. Then that's who he is. See, I know things that we don't like to talk about. See, because I never hid from the truth. And the truth is, Black people been through a lot, man. We got a lot of psycho disorder. We are a group that we not out of the war yet. You see how people come back from the war and man, they like all disoriented. They not themselves. They think differently. They kind of like they're not there yet. Well, we're dealing with post-traumatic stress disorder from every single thing from what might happen tomorrow to what happens today to what just happened yesterday, all the way through it. You hear me? I mean, we're dealing with all of it. All of it. Now, here's the thing that blows my mind. The thing that blows my mind is that the brother Umar prides his legacy on being a descendant. You ready for this? Being a descendant of Frederick Douglass. We got some problems here. Frederick Douglass married, I shouldn't even have to say this. Frederick Douglass, after his marriage to a very dark complected Black woman, ended because she died. He married and lived the rest of his life with a white woman. Now he prides himself on his lineage from being from the same gene pool of Frederick Douglass. Now, in my opinion, and I mean, we all got him, that's hypocritical, bruh. You can't think you are a descendant of our leadership if you castrate our leadership based on who they sleep with. But now, I put this to you. If that's your belief, then go 100% with it. And I have nothing to say. Because I'm always have people that look at me and say, well, you ain't all the way Black. Because you part white. And I tell them, the difference between me and you is I just happen to know the white people in my family. Still a mystery for you. But I don't say that disrespectfully. I say that because we have to understand that we have been taught division for a reason. Why would they want us to be together? Why? Do you think that somehow helps us? Yes. So that's why they taught you. But ask yourself, why the Africans don't like us? Because in their mind, we're not really African. Look at any gene test and you'll find out that we've been so thoroughly, I like how they use the word assimilated. I like to use the word raped, that every African American has white blood. Everyone. I mean, I met this sister who was amazingly dark, and I knew that she too had Neanderthal in her bloodstream. Not because she was a less than perfect sister. It's because this is what deck we got dealt before we sat at the table. Don't let these people trick you. But this is what I say. I say there are some people who want to try and live Black, but they got a lot of distortion in their mind. You can't go all day screaming Black and then go all night loving white. It's a little strange. But if that's what you do, that's what you do. I'm not going to argue with you because to me, it's about the work you put in. It's some Black people with some problems. I'll tell y'all something. My father, who is darker than most of the people I know, he was rejected by his father, who was lighter complected than him, because he was too dark to be his child. My father ended up marrying and having children by a white woman. I don't know why he did it, but as I look and I study kind of what he dealt with, his post-traumatic stress, Say maybe that was it. Maybe he never wanted a child of his to ever be rejected because they were too dark. I don't know. I know one thing. This was a black man that took more black men out of the streets and turned them into career-minded men. Every one of my friends who had no father, he was their father figure. That I know. But I have no idea what he went through because I wasn't there. He had no father, yet he was a father to me and a father to so many who would never know what a father was if he wouldn't have reached out and took them under his wing. You guys, I need to talk to you about this because it's important to understand this. We have been given a bag, a misunderstanding, a disproportionate. I know. I'm going to say something to y'all that y'all ain't going to like. And I respect that because y'all sick. I'm going to tell y'all the Democrats ain't never did nothing for you ever in your life. And I can't stand Republicans, the ones today. I'm going to tell you that it wasn't a Democrat that freed the slaves. You guys know what I know about freeing the slaves. We know that they never freed the slaves because they wanted black people. You listen to Abraham Lincoln. Abraham Lincoln said he had no ways ever thought that blacks and whites should have the same privileges, the same rights, the same respect. But see, what his issue was that there were corporations, okay, that were trying to get the same rights as men, and men were saying, yeah, but that's not white men. So in order to get the respect for corporations, they had to what? They had to make sure that all men were created equal. Not for your black butt. Go look at the Constitution. You 3/5. Okay. I know y'all don't like that. But it wasn't even Democrats that even got y'all civil rights. No, that was Republicans again. Check and see every single representative you had in the 1800s that were Africans who were citizens in America and they were Republicans. Do I want you to be Republicans? No. I want you to be Africans who use your vote specifically to get what you need to get. We need to unify our vote and then peddle it for whoever the heck is going to do for our communities the way we need done. Stop this old bandwagon hustling. 90%, 98%. Do you know when Lyndon B. Johnson was elected president, he got 97% of the black vote? While the Dixiecrats, y'all know that's called the Democrats that was in the South, was still lynching us. We sick. We still sick. We sick. Because you know what we need? We need equal economic opportunities. But what do we have? We have the welfare state. We have the welfare state. Ladies and gentlemen, you want to know how you keep a tiger from killing a village? Catch them when they're young and put a nipple in their mouth, and you'll never have to worry about them again. You'll never have to worry about them. Let me tell you something. When you get that tiger sucking on that nipple, you can feed him with a chimpanzee. Now, used to be a time you killed a chimpanzee, but now the chimpanzee got the nipple in the tiger's mouth. I seen it in the circus. Y'all don't know how sick this is. Let me calm down for 1 second. First off, I want to say mad shout out to my man, Terry Hunter. I have just, if you didn't hear it, brother, was just raving on the amazing Chosen Few Festival and the unbelievable amount of love and unity amongst 42,000 of our people in the middle of the war zone with not even a problem in the air. Y'all need to find out about the Chosen Few Festival. Get over there and support some of the greatest entertainers who have put their life's work in to keep us happy in the middle of misery. Y'all don't know what that means, but that's real talk. Real talk. You guys, what you have to understand is the welfare state is the nipple in the tiger's mouth. Look what it did. It separated. See, it separated the husband from the wife. What y'all don't know, I know a lot of y'all see, they gloss through this so quick, you don't know this. The day before the Civil Rights Bill was ever signed, Black single mothers only made up 22%. Do you hear this? We at 77% right now, man. How? How? Y'all tell me how, because I know how. Because they progressively took away the man and substituted him with the man. See, because you know for a fact that this brother's struggling. It's really hard. He got enemies everywhere. He got a gun facing in his face everywhere he goes. How can you depend on him? He can't get a career because the school system was inadequate. He can't get a career because he was thrown in jail before he was even old enough to vote. You ask yourself, why you sell your brother out? I'll tell you why. For 3 hots and a cot. Because you need to make sure that you had a place to live. And that baby who looked just like him, you raised. Now he got his pants hanging down to his kneecaps, got a Glock in his back pocket, and he out here spitting dope. Because he wasn't there. Because that's what happens. And you know what? When he stopped being a cute little boy that might have a chance for rehab, he becomes a hardened criminal, and they got a penitentiary system growing by the decade. Now tell me, where are we going with this thing? At what point will black lives really matter? You can't get jobs. You know why you can't get jobs? Because black people ain't opening up business. Know why black people ain't opening up business? We too busy trying to work for white people. You work for white people, and don't get me wrong, I got nothing against white people. But who takes care of white people? White people. Who take care of Chinese people? Chinese people. Who take care of Jews? Indians. Arabs. Y'all take care of them. Every single story they drop in your community. See, if we always thinking about white people, and white people always thinking about white people, let's do the math. How many people does that end up being thinking about us? 0. And that's exactly what our communities look like. Am I lying? Am I lying? You go out there, see stores for rent everywhere. Because, see, it was a special kind of thing when they told you was integrated. It was a special kind of thing. Because you left your black businesses, you left your black brothers, you left your black sisters, you left your black brain and ran your mindless self over there to spend your 98 cents out of every dollar, and it ain't changed since. Our communities are living on 2%. Do you understand this? Maybe you don't. $1.1 trillion. $1.1 trillion is what black people make yearly. If we were a nation, we'd be the number 16th richest nation in the world. But see, they taught you, your money is to buy our stuff. Now, when we let you go, I expect you to do that. Matter of fact, you know you ain't nothing unless you got on Neiman Marcus. You know you ain't nothing unless you got on Gucci. You know you ain't nothing unless you got a nice car. You know you ain't nothing unless you renting from the nicest apartment complex. 87% of our people renting. And this is a country that was built on a constitution that was for what? For owners. Owners of 2 things. Owners of slaves and owners of property. And yet we still renting and buying disposable garbage. You ask yourself, where you going with this? Where? Our effort has to be building economic stability in our communities through entrepreneurial dedication. You feel me? You can't do it unless you do it for yourself. But see, they don't want you to know that. See, I tell y'all how this happened. See, there's something called the boiling frog syndrome. I was checking this out on the Discovery Channel. Y'all be shocked on this. So you try and put a frog in hot water to jump right out. But if you put a frog in cool water and then you just turn up the heat a little bit and incrementally keep turning up the heat, and you can cook that frog and he'll never move. That's what happened to us. See, they incrementally made it worse, made it bad, made it unbearable. And what we do, we just stayed there, man, trying to I'm just trying to survive. See, we wasn't trying to survive. Survival wasn't enough. See, we were surviving when we decided enough was enough. I done told y'all about this revolution that these white people had. They weren't getting treated like us, but they said, you know what, liberty or death. What we talking about? We shall overcome. We shall live in peace. We got our best gospel singers out there singing something that don't mean nothing. We still pride ourselves because somewhere in the 60s, we walked from dead president to dead president. Isn't that what we did from the Lincoln to the Washington Monument? Thought we did something? You are not aware of Northern slavery. See, in the North, slaves were treated a little different. Not everywhere, some places. See, some slaves were able to have meetings and talk about problems that were going on the plantations and such they were on, and in the homes that they were for noble folk. And they would have a chosen house Negro that would talk to the common field Negroes and come up with a good understanding of what boss could do to make things better. So we had the right to express ourselves very carefully. And he, Massa, would take that into consideration. We sometimes would be able to leave off the plantation and go visit family. Had to have their papers to let them know who you was so they don't throw you in jail or beat you or mistreat you because you're somebody else's property. You wore that name proud. But there's no different than today. You don't matter until you matter to you. Every one of us need to start supporting more Black businesses. It is your job to support Black businesses because if you don't support them, they don't grow. If they don't grow, they don't hire us. Now, that doesn't mean settle for some garbage business. No. If a business doesn't give you the kind of value, the kind of appreciation, service that you expect, you're not supposed to go there. So you have to learn that as a people, you have to ostracize those who do not want to flow with progression. You got to understand that. That's our job. That's your job. That's my job. Not everybody is intended to make it where you're going. You know, I'll never forget when W.E.B. Du Bois, I was reading his book. W.E.B. Du Bois said, we got to focus on the talented 10. That meant the 10% that were going to be college educated. See, what they were supposed to do, they were supposed to come back and help the masses. Well, guess what? We got 18% with college graduate degrees. All right? We got more degrees than the thermostat. But we ain't got no help in our communities because they left. When W.E.B. Du Bois said this, there was no such thing as integration. See, because that's when he believed you had no choice but to come back and build your own. You don't even know what your own look like no more. And I can't stand when I hear somebody talking about, oh yeah, I got a black manager and she the worst. Like white people any better. You mean just your consternation that she black got you already aggressive and controversial with her, confrontational. We just taught to be like that. Y'all, we got to change our lives. We got to change the way we think. We got to change the way we live. We're going to do it together. But we ain't going to do it living lies. We ain't going to do it playing high school games with grown folks. We're going to do it by finding the truth. Hey, this is your boy, Tone Duncan. And this is the Truth Seekrz on IntellectualRadio.com. They yanking me up out of here. We got an amazing show coming up next. You guys, till next Tuesday, it's your boy. Peace.